Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Andrew Soignier with Element Analytics, based in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Element is a San Francisco-based software company that enables engineering, IT, multidisciplines within asset-intensive companies to collaborate focused on basically the outcomes that have been cost prohibitive and very difficult to achieve to this point. So why are we doing this, right? The biggest challenge is the data and the information related to the data in companies, chemical, oil and gas, manufacturing, et cetera, is really unused, right? And so at the end of the day, if it's unused, it's not being used in decisions, not being used to improve what you're ultimately doing to automate and scale, right? And so what we really believe is at the end of the day, there's really three facets to this. There's never been the ability to bring together engineering design, operations as performing, and ultimately as maintained together. So we approach this problem in a little bit different way, but allow you to get a kind of full 360 view of the assets, the equipments, the processes that are in the facilities. And how do we do that, right? We actually do that through kind of two things. Both the approach is you're enabling people who have never worked together before, in some cases don't like to work together, to actually collaborate together and do what they do best. So optimize how the individuals, based on what their jobs and processes are today, how they can leverage technology in a more meaningful way. And so it's both an approach as well as technology being a graph-based model that allows the information to create relationships that have never been able to be established or maintained before. And so for an example, oftentimes it's how do I relate my time series performance data to my design data to actually how I'm maintaining a piece of equipment. Could be a pump, could be a heat exchanger, a compressor. The latest one is valves. How do we do that in a very efficient way and able to make the decisions that need to be made by the entire set of engineers and data scientists and the like within an organization? So let's just get right to it. At the end of the day, one of our my favorite clients is BP. They've been on this journey for a while, and it's been a multitude of things, right? So number one is attacking asset integrity all the way to condition-based maintenance. And if you think about the multitude of applications that are in any facility or portfolio, you have to really kind of distill that and say, at the end of the day, someone's got to contribute that has resident knowledge to these things to be able to unlock the value within the organization. And what we essentially establish for them is a one-to-many scenario where they can go after things based on equipment types, based on processes, and allow that to support multiple parallel paths in their organization in both IT and engineering. And what that's done is created some of the metrics ultimately that heavy reduction in the time involved and the engineering and the IT effort involved so that they could do this and scale this, right? At the end of the day, simple statistics were as easy as it was taking 3-4 individuals 5 man-months, and we converted that into an individual and a half down to 5 weeks. And so it's not just the time savings involved with quicker time to your outcomes, it's actually getting to those outcomes in the first place, which many people have come to the conclusion, and a lot of times they're just chasing too many things, right? The other thing is the amount of systems. Because we tackle the problem from really a metadata approach, we're not trying to move data between systems that were never intended to be connected to each other and trying to overload, essentially infrastructure and processes that were involved. So the easiest example of this is really thinking about it from a Google Maps or a Waze perspective is, where's my Starbucks as I was coming in today? And where does that information come from, right? Well, within a facility, manufacturing, oil and gas, you name it, that information is in the engineer's minds. And so to get that resident information out and put it somewhere that it can be maintained, there's no magic bullet for that. There's no free lunch, as one of our engineers calls it, right? And so to be able to take that information and have it resident and become institutional knowledge and ultimately your IP, it's your maintained IP, and we're just essentially helping you be the facilitator of that. And here's the team. Been with them from almost the beginning, based in San Francisco, both from an investor perspective, Dave and company, as well as the minority investors that are well known in the industrial sector. So, thank you.